The final polls just closed on the Indian election, the last stage of the largest democratic exercise in the world. Indian elections always feature dazzling statistics about size and scale, but here's an unusual one. According to data released this week, almost 20% of the candidates running are facing criminal prosecution. That's right, nearly 1/5 of India's potential parliamentarians are accused of a crime, according to the accountability watchdog, the Association of Democratic Reforms. Now, many of these are not jaywalking or parking violations. They include murder, attempted murder, kidnapping. The proportion of candidates who are embroiled in criminal cases in India has steadily increased since 2009. But what is really shocking is not that such candidates are emboldened to run for office, it's that historically these suspected criminals tend to win. Almost 1/3 of the lower house's current parliamentarians are accused in criminal cases. In the last 3 national elections, on average, candidates accused of crimes have been almost 3 times more likely to win. Those are the findings of the recent book, When Crime Pays, by the Carnegie Endowment's Milan Vaishnav. Now, I should be clear, criminal prosecution is not conviction, but Indian courts are so backlogged, trials can drag on for a decade or more. Justice in India is slow-moving, and convictions are perennially deferred. The larger message is that India has long had a tradition of mixing crime and politics. Now, why does this happen? India is fragmented by its caste system, and in the past few decades, long oppressed members of the lower castes have been gaining some power and voice. That's brought with it fresh ethnic tension. Vaishnav and his peers did a survey of 68,000 randomly selected Indians in 24 states and territories in late 2013. They measured Indians' ethnic bias against how likely they were to support candidates facing serious criminal cases. They found that in places with a high degree of ethnic tension, people were much more likely to support the accused in politics. You see, it seems that the more threatened Indians felt by the power of other groups, the more likely they would be to vote in a strongman from their side who might have run afoul of the law. This is a clear case of tribalism trumping the rule of law. Voters may know a politician breaks the rules, breaks the law, but there's a perception that he does this for their side. Does this sound familiar? A majority of Americans believe that President Donald Trump committed crimes before his presidency, according to a Quinnipiac poll released this month. That includes almost all Democrats, but also 17% of Republicans, a group which still overwhelmingly supports Trump. In March, 1/3 of Republicans thought Trump was probably guilty of a crime before he became president. Perhaps some of those voters look at Trump the way Indian voters look at their leaders. He may be capable of doing bad things, but he'll fight for them. Groupthink and tribalism can undermine the rule of law in a poor country like India, or even in the richest land in the world.